Hey, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Jeez, huge news. We got this news alert while we were taping Crime Writers today. I almost jumped out of my chair. The FBI today arrested former Stoughton, Massachusetts police detective Matthew G. Farwell in the Sandra Birchmore case. He's being accused of killing her. She was 23 years old. She was pregnant, and she was murdered on February 1st, 2021. Her body was found 3 days later on February 4th.
Now, this is important because this is not unrelated to Karen Reed.
It is completely related to the Karen Reed case. The crossover, if this were fiction, it would be like the crossover event of the year. So exactly a year before John O'Keefe was killed,
in Canton.
Yeah, in Canton. This young woman, Sandra Birchmore, was found in her apartment
in Canton
by Canton police officers, wait for it, Lank and Kevin Albert. Brian Albert's brother.
And Proctor's drinking buddy.
Yes. And these police officers initially said she died by suicide. The case was referred to the state police, who then also determined that she died by suicide.
She was discovered.
She was discovered hanging by a doorknob by a strap of like a gym bag.
Okay.
And her family was like, no fucking way did she die by suicide.
Right.
She was pregnant. She was very excited about having a baby.
Right. How old was she? 20?
She was 23.
Okay.
She had some challenges in her life, but she had been participating as a young person from the time she was 13 on in this youth police program in Stoughton. And from when she was 15 on, had told a lot of people that she had been in a sexual relationship with a much older police officer. When she started the program, he was 25. They began having sex when he was 27 and she was 15. And she was pregnant with his baby. He was married. He had other kids. He came to her apartment on February 1st. He says to break up with her. There's video of him entering and leaving. And then the next day, February 2nd, his wife had a baby. Their third kid.
So the day after?
The day after
her body was discovered?
The day after she was killed.
She was killed.
Yes. The day after Matthew Farwell's sexual victim was killed, his wife had a baby in Newton, Massachusetts. So he was arrested today. The Canton police chief, by the way, also stood behind this suicide claim.
So the original investigation into the circumstances was conducted by the Canton Police Department.
Just originally, but then it was referred to the state police.
Then,
the Massachusetts
Is there any indication why the state police got involved? As opposed to Canton? Maybe that's protocol, but that doesn't seem...
the John O'Keefe case was also referred to the state police.
I think if there's a possibility of murder, then the state police probably investigate that instead of local officers, so maybe that's just a due diligence thing. Okay.
Yeah,
okay, but both Canton and the Massachusetts State Police at the time said suicide.
Yes.
What about the medical examiner?
Suicide. The Birchmore family was like, no fucking way. They wanted to sue. They hired their own private investigator and their own private...
But who did they want to sue civilly?
They wanted to sue the Stoughton Police Department.
Okay.
And so they
Because at the time, what did they believe happened?
They believed that she was murdered by these 3 cops.
By 3 cops?
They believe she was murdered by him, but they believe that she had a sexual relationship with 3 cops. And basically, so one of them is his brother, Farwell's twin brother, and a third cop that she had said that she had had sex with all 3
Did they identify the third cop?
Yes. He's in the Boston Globe article. It's a Boston Globe story about all of this that I'm going to put in the show notes if people want to read.
Because there are some names here that are familiar. We'll hear that are familiar to Karen Reed.
Lots of names that are familiar.
Okay, all right.
There's one name in particular. So, by the way, Kevin Albert is a familiar name. He was the first responder in this case. And Michael Lank was also the first responder in this case. Michael Lank was one of, if not the first cop on the scene in the John O'Keefe case. All right? So that's some crossover. There's another huge piece of crossover. A cop named Guarino, Trooper Nick Guarino, who you might remember from the Karen Reed trial as Trooper Kill Me Now.
Kill me now.
On the stand.
Hot mic on his cross-examination.
Yeah, he was the, quote, forensic expert that the state police put up.
And he was testifying about cell phones, right?
He testified about Jen McCabe's cell phone.
Okay.
That, the 228 search was not a 228. That, that her calls were not deleted, that it was whatever.
So he's the expert on House Long to Die in the Snow.
And he also testified, very importantly, that John O'Keefe, the timestamps of his activity were when they were driving, not when he was inside 34 Fairgate.
Stuff that seemed pretty far-fetched that was later refuted by the defense. Okay, so an arrest was made today.
Yes, but wait.
Sure.
Can I just talk about
Nicholas Guarino? Of course. Yeah.
Nicholas Guarino he actually examined this officer who was arrested, Farwell's phone.
Okay.
And found nothing. The FBI found 32,000 text messages in the Sandra Birchmore case from Farwell's phone.
You know why they searched his phone? They were onto this officer
the FBI was onto this officer.
The FBI was, yeah.
So the FBI has been looking at this group of cops for a long time.
Apparently so.
And the FBI is also looking into the Karen Reed investigation.
Yes.
Which began a year later.
Yes.
To think that there's not crossover is wild. Now, there are people on Twitter, anti-Karen Reed people, who are saying it is disgusting how free Karen Reed people how Karen Reed has used the Sandra Birchmore case to her benefit in her case. Fuck that shit. DA Michael Morrissey today is saying the FBI basically has given them all the materials, and Michael Morrissey is basically saying that this case has remained, quote, open. That is not true.
No.
They cleared the cops. They said that it was a suicide.
It's now been opened by somebody else.
It was opened by the FBI.
Okay, so much to get here about that, but important is that today's arrest was not made by local or state police.
It was made by the FBI.
The FBI came in.
Right.
So it had to be a federal crime.
Yes.
And what crime did they come up with?
The crime is that he killed a witness, essentially, a potential witness.
Now that is really intriguing.
Yeah.
A witness or victim of what crime? Now,
the indictment says is that she was a potential witness that could have testified to crimes by cops, that basically the crime would have been that she would have turned him in for raping her, taking advantage of her and keeping her from being able to report that crime.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So basically,
or maybe something in addition.
And she could have known all sorts of shit about these cops because she was and the Stoughton Police Department, by the way, history of troubling behavior. There was another chief. There was other cops in an extortion scheme. I believe this was the time card extortion scheme, big money extortion scheme, stole thousands and thousands of dollars from taxpayers. Troubled department. This whole part of Massachusetts, the state police there, the local police departments there, very stinky. Lots of stinky stuff going on. A story that has sort of been lost in the shuffle is that Berkowitz, the chief of the Canton Police, abruptly resigned in 2022 after John O'Keefe's death for some reason that has not really been reported on enough, in my opinion. He was the one who found pieces of taillight happened to be driving by the property, abruptly resigned.
After the Canton police have been recused from the case.
So as I was saying, I'm seeing on Twitter, all the anti-Karen Reed people who basically are two people running 15 Twitter accounts, are basically it's so disgusting that Karen Reed is using the Sandra Birchmore case or whatever. By the way, these same people, a lot of them were saying that Sandra Birchmore's death was a suicide. And this was all more conspiracy nonsense 4 days ago.
Because that's what the police said, so it must be true.
Yeah, so basically to say that this is unconnected and that that the Karen Reed case does not stink of the same kind of rot. I mean, this is the only difference here is that a cop directly committed this crime and that a cop directly covered up an active duty cop. Okay. It's not.
And a bunch of other cops either are so incompetent or they
helped
or they intentionally. Yeah.
What's really disturbing about the Sandra Birchmore case is that the Stoughton Police Department got a tip that Sandra Birchmore was going to tell people that Farwell was the father of her baby.
Right.
And that someone in the police department told him, and then he murdered her. So it was definitely someone in the
So a third party
yes.
should have put that together, certainly after the fact.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
He's alleged to have killed Sandra within 24 hours of his wife giving birth
with
to a child.
intent, and then making the scene look like a suicide.
Yeah. You know, one thing that comes to
a state police trooper making one kind of crime look like another kind of crime. Does that seem like anything that you've heard of recently?
Yeah, that rhymes with something. Okay, but you know, one of the things, one of the big sort of mysteries that that's what I was going to say, we don't know that sort of mystery is. One of the mysteries of the Karen Reed case and the involvement of the FBI. And it's, how did they get involved in the first place?
Yeah.
And there was speculation that they came across all this Karen Reed stuff because they were already looking into something tangentially connected to this case.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think, it's Proctor, because Proctor is the lead investigator, and Proctor got fired later. But it does make me wonder whether or not, because now we know the FBI was looking into the Sandra Birchmore case.
And they were looking into Guarino's work, probably.
Or maybe they were already looking at Farwell and they had something going. But it feels like, to me, I would want to know, did they stumble onto this second crime while looking at the first? Because the FBI, certainly did not give two shits about what the local or state police said. They were going to go ahead and find a way to make their own case because it looked like it wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening.
Yeah.
This is the thing that's disgusting to me. DA Michael Morrissey saying today that he does not comment on open cases, so he's not going to comment on this. The FBI brought this to him and was like, you can have all this stuff now.
He shouldn't comment because he didn't know a fucking thing about it.
Guess what? He's not. He doesn't comment a lot on active things. Bull fucking shit. He comments a ton on the Karen Reed case. Comments a ton on it. And this idea that people say, are we supposed to believe that a bunch of cops are either so incompetent or would cover up for other cops who did something bad? Are we supposed to believe that? Guess what? We should fucking believe it because it happened. It happened in a case that involved some of the same goddamn cops. Exactly 1 year before this case.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, the thing that is very important to remember, all of these people are friends.
Yeah.
They all know each other. They all know each other. They all know each other. They're all friends. They all socialize. They all know each other. There's pictures of them. Like, I guarantee you, Farwell knows people involved in the Karen Reed case. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Like, Kevin Albert knows Proctor. They're drinking buddies. Like, everybody knows each other. They all know each other. You know, Proctor was
Which is natural.
It's
right?
totally natural.
Because, you're working in the same field.
circles.
Sure, absolutely.
By the way,
professionally. Yeah, right.
Farwell was also the head of his union. So Farwell was in charge of advocating for policies for cops.
Yeah.
How fucking
and protecting
scary
them.
is that?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he was raping a child because she was under the age of consent in Massachusetts. It doesn't matter.
And this went on for years.
It went on. He raped her from when she was 15.
And joined the Explorers program.
She joined when she was 13. He started raping her when she was 15. His twin brother allegedly also raped her. And another cop also allegedly raped her from when she was fucking 15.
Yeah. Now, let's not look beyond Sandra because this has always been a tragic case, and this is a good day for her family.
Yeah.
To get the affirmation, the thing that they have been saying for all this time, that this wasn't a suicide, that she died by the hand of these officers, and that now that is being criminally alleged.
Yeah.
Right. And so they have a chance. They're going to have their day in court, but this seems to indicate they're going to say, look, we're not crazy. But what do we have here that's like definitively, well, not definitive, but what do these two cases appear to have in common? In both of these cases, the Canton Police Department arrived at the scene of an unattended death And in one case called What Was a Murder, misdiagnosed it.
Not just the
Called it a
Kansas Police
suicide.
Department, the same two cops.
The same two cops. And then at the John O'Keefe scene, looked at that unattended death and pointed a finger away, and seemed to point a finger that obviously pointed to, up the driveway and not the other way back. So if you're going to say, no, the Canton Police Department has an excellent record of coming up on, dead bodies and figuring out exactly what's going on, they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we're seeing here. And plus, you're right, you've got overlap with certain people. And what? So, I mean, we gave a lot of shit to Trooper Paul for his, Caca Bananas accident reconstruction. But now we've got this other trooper here who we was already stretching credulity, saying that, no, this tab was open and this...
He said there's no way to retrieve deleted texts. Levy's we have 32,000 deleted texts.
In this case, yeah. Find texts, can't find them. The FBI somehow could find 32,000.
Yeah.
Either from the device or maybe from the server. I don't know how they get it, but for fuck's sake, you couldn't find one?
Yeah.
Because all those cops know the thing to do is destroy your phone, get rid of the SIM card. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So Sandra Birchmore told many, many, many people that this was happening with Farwell, that she was pregnant with his baby. She told people at her school. She basically fell through the cracks.
This wasn't a secret, yeah.
No, she fell through the cracks over and over and over again. She was failed by many, many people, and we do want to stress that. It's really incredible. And
yeah.
I'll just tell you, Morrissey needs to be primaried. And this is something that, Aidan Carney said on here. Aidan Carney, as we know, is a conservative guy. Mm-hmm. He has views that I find abhorrent on many issues. Mm-hmm. But he basically said that he would vote for Ilhan Omar if she primaried him. He'd vote for anybody.
Right.
Any liberal Democrat if they primaried him.
It's sort of a playing against type here in a lot of places where we see conservative DAs in different parts of the country doing prosecutions that
these Democrats are fucking corrupt.
Democrat, and it's Massachusetts, so it's a Democratic stronghold.
Yeah.
The only way it's in
a
the
very
general election.
Kind of
can't say that I mean, in the normal course of order, he would not lose a general election.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at whether or not you want to say that they got it right with Karen Reed, they totally got it wrong on this case. Corrupt cops, murdering cops, covering up for one another. On his watch, his people had a chance to look at it. They did nothing. They said it was a suicide, which is incompetent at best and is collusion at worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy's got a lot of political problems. He already did. But, man.
I just think that there's a brand of political corruption, and in Massachusetts it's among this this Democratic Party stuff, because they've just been in charge forever, and they always will be, except when Mitt Romney was governor, which was an aberration. But Mitt Romney, by the way, passed some of the most liberal policies. Mitt Romney is the reason why.
There was Bill Weld, there was Charlie Baker, there were moderate Republicans.
Mitt Romney is the reason why there's universal health care in Massachusetts way before Obamacare. That's fucking Mitt Romney. Oh yeah, which is weird.
Obama stole Mitt Romney's, and then Mitt Romney said that's I'm opposed to Obamacare.
And then Obamacare is actually way not as comprehensive as the Massachusetts plan. But anyway, I don't want to prop Mitt Romney too much, but Mr. Car Elevator. But what's interesting is that, this kind of Kennedy Democrat thinking, where it's the entitlement that we're always going to be reelected, that we've got it locked. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about. Maura Healey is just not said a word about anything of substance around this. She just finds it, quote, troubling. Everything is, quote, troubling.
Yeah, other than talking about Trooper Proctor.
Yeah, his texts are troubling. Not his fucking driving around drunk with another cop for some reason that is yet to be determined. What was the investigation?
And that cop happened to be the one that found Sandra Birchmore's body.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That very cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, and that cop is Kevin Albert is currently...
He's suspended.
He's suspended with pay.
Yeah. From the Canton Police Department.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, this was certainly a case that a lot of people thought, this is going to go to trial, and a lot of people are going to be watching this gavel to gavel. But this was something that a lot of people were saying, keep an eye on this case because it is not unrelated to the Karen Reed investigation.
It's not.
Wow. So it's not just because it's in Canton.
Right. So some people think that Aidan Carney said this, that it was Karen Reed's lawyers who brought her case to the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that's the case,
Mm-hmm.
there are ties that bind the two together.
Yeah.
And the ties that bind the two together are this group of men.
Yeah.
This group of men, the culture of these men, the toxic masculinity, the rampant alcoholism, and the willingness, at the very least, to look in the other direction, and at the very worst, to cover up murders for each other.
Yeah.
I know that it's very, very hard, and you talked about the other, Massachusetts detective that you spoke to, who just couldn't wrap his mind around the idea of manipulating evidence, planting evidence, whatever. And I said this at the time. I believe that the culture where he's working is probably very, very different than the culture in this pocket of Massachusetts, which is clearly just dirty.
Yeah.
It's Dennis Lehane dirty.
Yeah.
All right. So we're
or hey, it could be around him too, or he sometimes
maybe
you say,
he doesn't see it.
Yeah. We say the problem isn't bad apples, it's the good apples that don't do anything.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, I don't know.
Well, we are going to be back. Obviously, we're going to be following this very closely.
Big day.
I'm going to be adding the tag Sandra Birchmore to this, and maybe we'll open a new category of coverage here in our Patreon for this. But right now, we're going to keep it in the readathon silo.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be following this very closely because I do think that it's related to Karen for now. But clearly, there's a lot more to say, a lot more to do. I am not as well versed in this case as I am in the Karen case, but I'm getting there, and so I'll have a lot more to say about it. Thank you so much for recording with me, Kevin.
You got it.
All right, bye.
Partners in Crime Media.